Hey, it's JCal Arts, and I know it's been a while since I posted my last video. I have changed things up a little bit on my channel, and there are also things keeping me busy off of YouTube, but it looks like my schedule is going to clear up, so I won't be as late to the draw when it comes to posting. But enough of the announcements, and on to the video. So in this video, I'll be drawing two cartoon characters. They both are Anthro Cows. They both come from shows that have fallen off the pop culture conscious for the most part. They're both Southern or rural coded. And so yeah, that's what I'm going with for today's episode. So the first character you see me drawing on screen is Moo Montana, and this character comes from a cartoon show in the 90s called The Cowboys of Moo Mesa. Correct me if that's not the actual name of the show, because I think it's something a lot longer that I'm not remembering right now. But anyway, he comes from The Cowboys of Moo Mesa 90s cartoon, and that was the era basically where a lot of cartoons are trying to be TMNT, but a twist, riding the TMNT craze of that time. And so this is essentially the Southern cowboy version of TMNT. You know, it had the three or four heroes, and they stop the evildoer, and that's basically the episode, and you have multiple episodes, and that's the cartoon show. What inspired me to draw Moo Montana was Secret Galaxy's video on the Cowboys of Moo Mesa. They basically go over the history of the show, how it was created, the legacy, etc. And sadly, Cowboys of Moo Mesa ended up being one of the many cartoons that fell out of the collective pop culture consciousness. And I ended up watching a few episodes on YouTube, and I guess I can kind of see why. I particularly just found it to be yet another derivative of TMNT, but with a Southern cowboy twist. And while it wasn't a terrible cartoon, it was just, a typical Saturday morning cartoon, three good law-abiding, cowboy sheriffs stop like these Wild West goons. And I guess they're cows. I personally didn't catch on with the cartoon myself or fall in love with it, but it is still sad to see cartoons get, thrown aside, unless they're actually, legitimately terrible. Well, one thing I found interesting about the Cowboys of Moo Mesa is that it was a lot more popular in Mexico, if I remember the Secret Galaxy's video on it. And I'm just wondering, Mexican viewers, if you're watching, is the show still talked about, or do you know people down there that are still fondly remembering the show? Because up here in America, it seems like people don't even know that the show exists, and it seems like a lot of cartoon enthusiasts like myself probably don't even know that this show exists, and that the legacy only goes as far here in America as the hardcore fans who watched it in its prime time. And probably some 90s kids as well probably know of the show, but aren't really big fans. Moo Montana and his friends did make a cameo in the TMNT 2003 series as background fodder enemies for the Turtles to fight, in a plot that they ultimately don't have any relevance to. So yeah, at least they're not Lunatics Unleashed, where people either want to forget you or pull you out for more spanking and humiliation and to make fun of you. But it just sucks that this cartoon, like many others, have been relegated to cultural obscurity and irrelevance. That's like the two-hit combo to really kill cartoons. And I think with a touch-up and a reboot in a more, unique direction, I think this show could be more memorable the second time around. Second and finally, we have Otis from the Back in the Barnyard franchise. Unlike Montana and the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Otis's franchise started with a movie, and I'm assuming the movie did pretty well in Nickelodeon's eyes because it ended up ultimately becoming a TV series later on. And unlike Montana and Cowboys of Moo Mesa, Otis and Back in the Barnyard had made more of an impression and impact for people, at least culturally, especially on YouTube. And anyone who's looked up Back in the Barnyard on YouTube knows of the milking machine scene. I'm pretty sure everyone who's in this sphere of cartoons or whatever is aware of that scene. And honestly, looking back, I don't know how some of the stuff that Back in the Barnyard put up on air ended up getting past censors, because Otis is a male cow, and whatever the milk machine got from him was not milk. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. Go watch a clip if you really want to know if you're not in the loop. So I did make Otis more anthro. He has hair, brown hair, is wearing a red wife beater, and you see him with opposable thumbs guzzling down a bottle of milk because he's a cow and milk features very heavily in Back in the Barnyard anyway. So you get the reference Nick was trying to go for. He's a cow and he drinks milk. Haha. Anyway, Back in the Barnyard has their own design inaccuracies, so don't go after me for making him more anthro in this picture, because the original design of Otis as a male cow has him with udders. And Nick execs, male cows don't have udders. And I'm pretty sure that the only payoff for the male cows having udders was that milking machine scene. And really the only thing that has amounted to, at least in recent time, is of a very nasty, look back at that whole entire scene and the double meaning that this joke has basically influenced or created in the minds of the people who watch that scene. So there's my commentary on my drawings and Otis in particular here, so I'll just go on to my ending ramble. And I basically see an alternate universe to bring both of these shows and their characters back in a weird way. I basically imagine pitching the idea of Otis and his friends being chaotic as they usually are in Back in the Barnyard, and Moo Montana being there to keep them in line. And I think that would be more interesting of a show. Essentially imagine Top Cats, but with cows. And so basically we can have a double whammy and bring both shows back, but that's food for thought. But anyway, that's enough of my commentary and on to the finished picture.